Friday night sound session with John Moore and DJ Hyphen on KUBE 93.
Part of reaching that many people in all those countries come through selling a whole lot of albums. You know what I'm saying? I think like the score, maybe, I don't know, 20 million, something like that, plus.
22, baby.
We ain't keep a score.
Don't down me, man. Just stop. My agent is listening, baby.
do you ever think about, you know, like over time how the industry's changed and technology become such a factor? Like, do you ever see like the possibility for another hip hop group selling 22 million records anytime in the near future?
Well, the problem is that once the record is finished, it's on the computer. They have it. So you will notice like a rap guy, like Lil Wayne can come out and sell 1 million copies, but you say, will he make it to 10 million copies? Will you go diamond? And we went diamond twice. The thing about it is, it's a new era and a new technology. If Lil Wayne was coming out in 1996, his first week sales would have been 7 million copies. Because it's not a kid that don't have the Lil Wayne record. However they gotta get it, they're gonna go get it. So it's more like what's registered. So but once in a while, for a group to sell that many records, people have to feel like it's an event. Once again, I don't mean to be arrogant, but I think the only group that
this
can
is
do
Clef's
that.
corner, so you can be what you want to be.
Yeah, cool. But you know, I ain't gonna be arrogant, but I think the only group that can probably do that is the Fugees. And the reason why is because the Fugees is an event. It's like going to see Star Wars. So it's not like, you know what I mean? Like dudes would be like, yo, you know, we'll pick up the CD, we want to see the artwork, we want to see the movement, we want to know what they're thinking. And the reason why I'm telling you that, it's not a domestic thing. If you go to China, and I'm doing an interview, they're like, when the Fuji come? Russia, when the Fuji come? When the, you know what I'm saying? Because people got to feel like it's an event. And we was talking about movies. And we was like, people go, like they'll go see Batman, like you said, because it's an event. And I think, because I tested the pulse when like the Fugees was going to come out with something. Like there's what you can test radar. And the radar numbers around the world was like Thriller numbers. Just the anticipation, you know what I'm saying? And why is that? The reason why is that is because if it was just for the record sales, I wouldn't say that. But the Fugees, since 96, built what was called a tour audience. And the tour audience is over 250 million people. And I'm still able to tour as a Fuji from that same tour audience. So think about it. So that's the vibe of what I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy. So speaking of technology, you mentioned the computer a second ago. You know, in the last 10 years, we've seen CDRs come out, iPods, Pro Tools, everything basically. Everyone's a rapper, MySpace, all this kind of stuff. How have you managed to adapt and stay relevant while so many people haven't? And also, is there anything about technology evolving that you really just don't like at all, that you really dislike?
Well, the thing about it is, when I did the score, I was a technology head. Meaning like, we used like a Ikai 9000, which was a sampler. We used a Lin 9000. I sampled like a Fender Rhodes. It wasn't a Fender Rhodes. I created a frequency from the Akai, and I patched it back on the board and MIDI'd it to a keyboard, but I never had a Fender Rhodes or Killing Me Softly. I tell you that to show you how crazy I am with technology. I'm in my room, I'm producing with my headphones on, looking at my studio in New York City. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. I'm like, no, you gotta do this cut again. Get back in the booth. This the harmonies. This is what we need. I love the way it's going. It's going in the era of the Jetsons. But what I don't like about it is that you can't just incorporate the computer sounds that's just on a computer, and you're not putting like real music behind it. And you know what I'm saying? And you're like, yo, I'm doing it. I'm like, you know, you gotta put real music behind it, because it's just a computer. So you can get them sounds as much as you want, but it still ain't gonna make you composer. You know what I'm saying? But the technology, I love.
All right. No, I'm soaking it. That's it.
He's like, I hate it.
No, not at all.
My biggest thing that I dislike about it is just that everybody is an artist and there's no quality control. And we've been talking about this. Like back in the day, if you were an MC and you wanted to get in the studio, someone had to think you were dope enough to get in, because you couldn't just open up your own studio. These days, I can plug in my mic to my computer, and it doesn't matter how good I am. I could be really dope, and some artists blow up like that. I could be really whack.
Yeah, but what it does though is that it makes us, because sometimes, like, and I was like that, where I take myself so seriously because I love the art so much that I lose touch of time and space. And I find that in my daughter that's 3 years old. Because, I'm going to tell you something bugged out, because I was like, yo, how does whack stuff like coming out? What's going on with them? My daughter's 2 years old. She runs through the house. She's like, hey, baby. And then she runs, hi, and she laughs. She did that for like 6 months. Her birthday came. I said, you know what? Let me hire Hurricane Chris and bring her to the house for my daughter, the 31st. Hurricane Chris comes with like 6 bodyguards. I'm like, you're good. There's nothing gonna happen.
For a 3-year-old.
You're at Clef's casa. Calm down a second.
Chill out.
Yo, I put her on my shoulder, man, and this dude starts to sing, hey, baby. I look at my daughter's eyes. Lights up. Remind me of like when I freaking saw Michael Jackson. And then I really thought about it and it was like, yo, really we are in a new era. You know what I'm saying? And I still think that if it's not hot, you ain't gonna get into it at the end of the day. But I think the idea of kids having the freedom, man, to just do what they want, because if they not on that computer, like making these whack rhymes and entertaining themselves and occupying themselves, no telling what the hell they gonna be doing. I'm telling you, keep them kids on them computers, man. They start getting time in their hands, they find other things.
No, that's really true. I hadn't really thought about that aspect of it, but
I got that for my daughter because I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I have to just start rethinking it and saying, okay, well, the Humpty Hump, doing the butt,
Yeah, no doubt. It was like that.
and I don't care what anybody said. Everybody did the MC Hammer.
Yeah.
For a split of a second, everyone was doing the
no
hammer.
doubt.
Even you, man.
Rap and Duke.
Right.
The hard,
oh, I hate
Uh-huh.
that song.
all that. Hey, but I'm saying it, we was doing it.
Remember Rock and Duke, the hard,
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, music is like an integral part of your life, and well, what drives you to continue making music? You know what I'm saying? After all this time and just all the success that you've attained commercially, critically, what is it that keeps you hungry, keeps you driven? What are the things that motivate you?
Passion. Like, it's like the music is my therapy. You know, it's what keeps me like sane. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has a passion that they do. You might be like, yo, if I don't do this, I don't really see what else I could do. There's people who DJ. Like, I know DJs that's been DJing since I've been like freaking like 13 years old. Dudes is like 60 years old, showing up now with, of course, they what is it called? They laptop and they produce.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, dog, you like 60, man. He like, yo, you don't understand. This is just my only escape. Once I'm finished here, I gotta go back to the house. And I think for me, my escape and the way I can let everything out is just performing. Like, that's just my passion. And when it's your passion and you love it, you never did it for the money. I'm doing it the same reason I did it in 1996, just because I love it and I can't stop, because I feel like there's much more that I can get to.